So, it's been a while since I've raged for a countdown. Let's change that. While there are a number of reasons why I love playing video games, there are also a number of things in video games that I just can't stand to see. Ever have one of those moments happen where you see it and you just want to throw your controller down? Yeah, that's what this countdown is going to be about. There aren't really going to be any rules for this countdown other than these, in my opinion, are some of the worst things that a video game can do. Now, a lot of these things in this video have been in a lot of other top 10s, from the Fiery Joker, the Autark of Flame, so if this list seems a bit repetitive compared to those, chances are a lot of people hate these things as well. This is Core Murder 15's top 10 things I hate in video games.
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey! Okay, this one is nitpicking a little bit, but unskippable cutscenes irritate the crap out of me. Now, there is a little twist with this one. I don't mind watching a cutscene the first time when I play through the game, but if I have to sit there and watch it again because I got a game over, or I'm playing through it a second time, do I really have to watch it again? What if I'm trying to do a speed run? Nope, just gotta sit here and wait for the same thing over again. It's like a video game version of Groundhog Day.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
I don't know what you mean. I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey! Ability loss isn't too bad for a couple of reasons. One, there aren't a lot of games that I've personally played that do this. Two, most of the time when it does happen, you regain your abilities later within the game and even get some new ones that are even better. What really gets me about this one, though, is that you're given all of this power at the very beginning of the game, and then yoink! Some jackass decides you're not worthy enough to have these powers. Yet. Kind of like what happens to you once you start playing as Alucard in Symphony of the Night. To a certain extent, though, I can kind of understand. Giving a player too much power at the very beginning of the game would be a little overkill.
Phenomenal cosmic powers! I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey! I've seen a lot of people complain about QuickTime events, and to be perfectly honest, yeah, they can be annoying as hell sometimes, but they're not too bad depending on what game you're talking about. Of course, the most notable ones that do this horribly are Resident Evil 4 and Soul Calibur 3. Now, these have been done correctly in such games as God of War, No More Heroes, and even more recently, Mortal Kombat X. But here are my two reasons why QuickTime events irk me so much. Sometimes it's the difference between life and death, trust me, we'll get back to that later, and two, even though this is a video game, it's pretty unrealistic. I mean, could you imagine trying to do this just to get a drink? Oh man, I could really go for a drink right now. What the? Okay, what's going on? There.
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey! As stated in other countdowns, most video games have some form of water level in them. What it does to the flow of the game just makes it seem really unfamiliar and unnatural to the mechanics that we've already come accustomed to throughout the rest of the game. Sure, it gives for a different game style, but normally it's for the worst. Super Metroid is one that I severely hate due to the fact that there are a couple of sections before you get the gravity suit that require you to get in the water and makes you slow as molasses. The most notable are the dam level from TMNT and the water temple from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which I will admit improved on the 3DS version. But the worst one of all is Atlantica from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Next. I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey! This is a tie between two things that make me equally irritated and are very similar. Instant deaths and one-hit kills. Old NES games are notorious for the one-hit kill deaths, like Contra. I don't mind those as much. The ones that really get under my skin are the games where you have a ton of health and one obstacle or attack can kill you instantly. A few examples: the bike level from Battletoads. You run into a wall, you instantly die. The endless spikes in Mega Man series. You fall into the spike, you instantly die. but the worst offender, and as we previously have talked about, quick time events. One button press is the difference between you moving on in the game or getting a game over and having to watch a previous section over again. It's like the video game version of Groundhog Day.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
I don't know what you mean.
Wait a minute.
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey!
Whether you believe in it or not in real life, luck-based events are stupid in video games. I cannot count how many times I've literally thrown my controller out of anger due to a stupid Mario Party minigame that's based on luck and luck alone. No skill needed. The game just decides, no, I don't like you, get the out. One of the most popular horror games of recent times, Five Nights at Freddy's, also has a luck-based event, 20-20-20-20 mode. The scenarios in Night 7 are randomly number generated, meaning any scenario can happen at any time, so once again, it's completely up to the game deciding whether you survive or get...
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey!
Most of the time in a video game, I want to relax, enjoy my experience, take my time with it. But when something happens in a game where I have to complete a certain objective in a certain amount of time, then it goes from pleasant to stress-inducing. I can understand scenarios like defusing bombs before they go off, but it's still annoying and stressful. These segments will normally take you a couple of tries before you can complete them. The only time I don't mind timed sections is that if it doesn't give you an instant game over if you fail. Like in Star Fox 64, where it just changes the outcome of the level, but 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work that way. One of the hardest that I used to hate was part of the Big Goron Sword fetch quest in Ocarina of Time, where if you don't get a mushroom to the witch in a certain amount of time, you have to go all the way back and try it again. If I could quote Link for this moment...
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey!
As previously seen in my last top 10 countdown, bosses are no pushovers, but when they're beefed up to the point where they seem almost impossible to defeat, then there's a big problem. Don't get me wrong, I like a good challenge, but when they're given a huge amount of health, a large amount of resistance to your attacks, and normal attacks take about 1/4 of your health in one hit, then we've got a problem. The most notable of this example are the early Mortal Kombat games, with such bosses as Goro, Kintaro, Motaro, and even Shao Kahn. You know, in fact, a lot of 90s fighting games did this. Actually, now that I think about this, my number 2 spot kind of mixes with this.
It's official. You suck.
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey!
Something that I hate, absolutely hate, even if it's not from a boss character, are unblockable and or undodgeable attacks. You know the ones I'm talking about. The one attack that the boss uses that no matter how hard you try, you cannot block it or dodge it. There are even games where regular enemies can block your attacks like they're nothing, but you don't even have a block feature. A great example of the unblockable attack is a certain move from Kingdom Hearts 1 that Sephiroth uses. Sin Harvest. You cannot, I repeat, cannot block or dodge this attack. It instantly drops you and your entire party to 1 HP, and before you know it, Sephiroth's all up in your business like, "Hi there, nice weather we're having, I'm gonna kill you now." And bam, game over. I guess it wouldn't be too bad if your character had a move that couldn't be blocked or dodged, but that's asking way too much, isn't it? All I'm asking for is fairness.
All's fair in love, war, and Pokemon battles.
I'm not crazy! You're crazy! Especially you, Nappa!
Hey!
Disclaimer, for the sake of overusage and jokes thrown into this scenario, I will not be talking about Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4 in this section. Escort missions. I despise escort missions, and it's easy to see why. Here are a few reasons. The person or item that you have to escort has a very limited amount of health. If they die, it's game over. If it's a person, they're normally extremely annoying, condescending, and just flat out unlikable. And you're thinking to yourself, why am I helping this person out in the first place? Oh yeah, because plot. One such example is this little brat from Psychonauts. And normally the person doesn't even fight back. They're just going la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da and don't care what you're doing. Even if the person is able to fight back, they don't do jack shit against the enemies. I don't really count them as escort missions, but a great example of this is in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, where you have to help Hercule fight Cell and make sure he doesn't die. Just what kind of sense does that make? One of the worst escort missions I've ever endured, though, is Fable. Not only do you have to protect these idiots, but you have to tell them when to stop and go. It's as if these people lack common sense. Oh, there's a Balverine over there? Oh, cool, I'm gonna go check it out. And then they die because I didn't tell them to stop like I was supposed to. I don't get paid enough for this. And that's why escort missions are my #1 thing I hate in video games. I'm Crow of Murder 15. And I think there are some villagers that are about to be escorted to the Chapel of Scorn.